What is going on, guys? Welcome back. We have a special episode today. So it is turning into fall. The hours are drawing a little longer, all that good stuff. Mahi season is pretty much over with. You get one here and there, but and we are right before Hitamasa season, so I can't really go out on the charters and the kayak yet because the winds and the waves are pretty bad, as the currents, all that shifting stuff goes. But today we are headed to Iki Island. So Iki Island, if you've seen my charter video, is known for some deep water charter fishing. We're not going fishing today per se though. Today I'm doing more of a scouting mission. I know the fishing's really good there, but I don't know where to stay. I don't know some of the resorts that you can stay at, because it's a thing here that you go to the resort and the resort has a charter. They have their own fishing areas. They have all their good stuff. So I'm taking my wife, I'm taking my son. It's holiday weekend. We are going there to do some deep research and see some of the sights on Iki Island and actually see if it's worth it. Because if it's worth it, I'll be back in just a few months, as the ferry from Karatsu, which is 45 minutes from my house, is a 1 hour little float on over. So it's not bad at all. And the price round trip, I do believe, is roughly about $120. So, and that's including the car that I'm about to drive on. So, being said, this is not an expensive trip. Obviously, it can be around $500 if you're staying in an inclusive place with the charter and stuff. But let's be honest, if you're coming to Japan, or if you're in Japan and you're coming here to catch some record tuna, that is not bad at all. So let's have some fun today. Let's see the sights. Let's enjoy Iki Island itself and try and find out some information. And then at the end of this video, we're going to be hitting up a store here in Karatsu that's kind of famous, a little newer, but still pretty good, called Deep Shallow. So let's enjoy this week's episode, and welcome to Bakasuri Gaijin. Alright, so this week we're going to get into the meats and potatoes of Iki Island itself. I did get a chance to talk to a few people and visit a few stores on the island. I didn't videotape it out of respect because it's the first time meeting them, and it is Japan. Being over-respectful here cannot be more emphasized. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of what it takes to get on a ferry like this. So, as you see, the ferry's just pulled up, the front of the nose comes up, they start taking cargo off, cars are coming off, all that good stuff. So what does it cost for you to drive your car, plus a few family members onto this? So I have a K car. Remember, those are the yellow plates, they're smaller engine types. It was 11,000 yen, so roughly under $100 for one way. So all in all, it's about, I want to say, $160 round trip for myself, my wife, my son, and a car. Not bad. Not bad for a little weekend getaway to an island that it doesn't really have that many tourists, and for what you got bang for buck, it was pretty good. So as you see, you drive straight into the ship. There's lots of people there telling you what to do. From my military days, they chalk and chain your vehicles so they don't move around. And then you're escorted out. They tell you when to leave, when to come back. And most of it is in English and Japanese, Korean as well, because you have to understand the islands in between Kyushu and Korea are heavily tourist spotted by Japanese and Koreans because it's a mixture. And Iki Island is no exception. So As you make your way into the bulk of the ferry, you see there the men's room, and then you have a nice little view of the port itself. So my wife and son came through that little corridor above. Plenty of vending machines on there. This is the main entranceway, and there's 2 tatami rooms if you want to just lay down and sleep. A lot of families did that. I had actual seats, and that was my the duration of the trip. And there's also 2 what we call weather decks, so exposed weather decks. On this ferry ride, there was actually a huge camping trip from several schools, so a lot of parents were out there, and there was not one seat open on this ferry. That being said, it was Columbus Day weekend for Americans, but we were the only ones on there. But to the Japanese, that Monday was sports day, a recognized holiday, and that's probably why the camping trip. So as you see, we're casting off, hitting the water, going away. Some people were getting seasick, like the second we got off, which I understand. I was in the Navy 20 years, if you guys didn't know. But yeah, really state-of-the-art facilities here. I really enjoyed the ferry portion of it. We actually watched Game 5 between the Dodgers and the Padres. Both starting pitchers were Japanese, so 95% of the crew was actually watching this. Most of the kids were super tuned in. And then you get the alert, you're told to go to your vehicle 70 minutes prior. You get onto the vehicle and you'll pull out. It's pretty cut and dry, super easy, nothing to complain about. I actually am highly considering taking a ferry from the other side of Kyushu up to Yokosuka by driving the 16 hours. Alright, so let's get into Iki itself. This is what most people consider the downtown area. It is very abandoned. It is known for this right here. This is one of the many temples along the island because the island itself is known as a power spot. In my entrance videos, you see one of the power spots of all of Japan, and it's actually featured in Demon Slayer, the anime. That is a power spot because it's a fertility temple, as the gigantic male reproductive organ there. And you can buy stickers of it, and you can buy blessings and stuff like that. A lot of people make the trip to Iki just for that because they're having trouble conceiving or keeping a child, stuff like that. But we made our way down to the port. We saw some of the stuff. We talked to people, and after that, we went to one of the tourist spots, which was the dolphin sanctuary. Now, dolphins have a lot of heat here in Japan. Especially because there's a few villages that openly, actively practice killing dolphins and make festivals out of it. I'm not for that. The reason that they do that is because they say when fishing's bad, it's because of the dolphins. It's kind of hard to understand as a Westerner, but for them, it's what they believe. So, I'm not going to get into that. I respect their beliefs. But the dolphins here, they were really just chill, relaxed, and they were telling us their backstories. And a lot of them are almost like 30 years old, which is considered very elderly. They were super chill. You could come up and touch them and feed them. And the total price was 3,000 yen for my wife, my son, me. Great. That being said, right next to it is a super cool beach. So the cliffs there break off, and the type of stone that breaks off almost breaks off in like a brick formation, and the waves break them down. Makes for some really great sound and fun. Later that day, we made our way to our hotel / resort that we were staying at. It had a great beach on both sides. I didn't film the inside of the Respect because people were walking around in just robes after doing the multiple onsens in this place. But absolutely amazing food, guys. I cannot say enough. I'll try and put a picture up on here so you guys see. But the cool thing about this is it's literally right next to the airport, which you're about to see in just a second. So the airport here isn't really what I would consider an airport. It's more of a landing strip with 1 or maybe 4 airplanes a day. Most people come to the island via ferry, so that's one of the reasons that it's really inexpensive.
Here it comes.
Here you can see the type of airplane. My son absolutely loves it. Even though they were waiting. As you continue down this path, it's going to lead you to some great cliffs that are known for some of the best fishing here in Iki off of shore. The majority of fishing here in Iki Island is actually done off a boat, and it's for kingfish, the largest size, which is hiramasa here in Japan. That is the primary target. After we did our little hike, we headed to the other side of the island for a converted boat that was once a glass bottom. And what it does is it basically takes you around the little tiny islands and shows you some of the historical spots, and then it drops you off on a private island. So you can hustle about, hike around, just see some of the spots. But this was actually the highlight of the entire trip for me, even though the trip was only 2 days. I absolutely enjoyed this. We got to see some of the guys doing overnight fishing literally on the cliffs for longtooth grouper, which is highly sought after and really expensive setups to do that. So I was just thoroughly enjoying watching them. But the seas were a little rough as the winds have been pretty crazy. But let's just enjoy this. Alright guys, as we wind down our trip here in Iki, as you can tell, I am parked, ready to go. I got my ticket confirmed, all that good stuff. Did the paperwork. It is super windy, so this might be a fun ride back to Kyushu. Karatsu is the port. Going to the building, we got our snacks, everything, so the little one will be comfortable on his way back, but super fun. So if you come here to the port, there's a building right over there. You can see it. They have a lot of touristy stuff, you know, all the local wines and liquors and a bunch of different snacks that are made here, so you can go check that out. And right outside the port, they got handy dandy maps. It shows you all the locations, so even if you don't speak, you can see like where to see stuff, different sites. Super handy. So island is super fun. You have to know people though if you want to come fishing here, so definitely research that. I'll get into it in a bit, but let me take care of business and I'll see you back on cue. Alright guys, so this is going to draw to the end of this week's video. I hope you learned something about Iki Island. I am definitely coming back here because I saw posters for multiple fishing tournaments that happen throughout the year. And at entry fees of 10,000 yen, so $70, as the current exchange rate is around 145. That's not bad at all. Highly sought after. I was trying to go to a fishing store in Karatsu, where the boat comes out of, but unfortunately because of that holiday weekend they were closed. But it is what it is. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I will be getting back on the water, getting my hook wet very soon, so make sure you're liking the videos, commenting if you have questions, subscribing, hitting that bell notification, all that good stuff. And thank you for watching.